Long before COVID, documents from the 1970s revealed elite discussions of population management. Vaccines were identified as the perfect vector, universal, accepted as healthcare, and delivered directly into the bloodstream. The mission shifted from disease prevention to population engineering, turning the needle into the most subtle weapon of social control ever devised. The 40-year Tuskegee experiment proved governments would lie about medicine to study human bodies. If they could deny treatment to black men for syphilis, they could certainly add extras to inoculations. Trust was broken long before the modern age. The public remains the unwitting test subjects in a never-ending clinical trial run by the state. Documents from the Rockefeller Foundation and WHO hint at fertility regulation. In Kenya and Mexico, tetanus vaccines were found laced with HCG hormones, causing permanent sterility in millions of women. Vaccination drives became soft genocide, targeting developing nations to reduce resource consumption and eliminate surplus populations. Modern shots contain mysterious, self-assembling structures observed under microscopes. These are not adjuvants, they are programmable nanobots. Once inside, they circulate the bloodstream, forming neural interfaces. The goal is total biological mapping. Every heartbeat, thought, and movement monitored from satellites, turning citizens into walking data farms. Instead of strengthening defenses, many vaccines overstimulate the system, causing chronic inflammation and autoimmune disorders. The result is a sicker population dependent on big pharma. Health is redefined as constant treatment, ensuring a permanent cycle of economic extraction and behavioral compliance through fear of illness. Aluminum salts and other neurotoxins cross the blood-brain barrier, altering neurotransmitters. Studies show correlations between vaccination rates and rising anxiety, depression, and cognitive decline. The goal is docility, a populace too confused and fatigued to question authority or demand freedom, chemically conditioned to obey. mRNA technology was never about immunity. It is a gene-editing platform. By instructing cells to produce foreign proteins, it rewrites human expression. We are moving from Homo sapiens to modified man, biologically distinct from our ancestors, unable to reproduce or survive without the pharmaceutical ecosystem created by our rulers. Compounds like aluminum hydroxide and squalene are not safe. They act as immune grenades designed to force reaction. They damage the gut-brain axis and accumulate in organs. This deliberate weakening creates a hierarchy, the elite protected by clean formulations, while the masses receive the toxic brew to limit their physical and mental potential. Evidence suggests different formulas are distributed based on DNA profiles. Vaccines are tailored to react differently to specific genetic groups. This is biological caste management, ensuring certain populations remain subservient or are reduced in number, while ruling bloodlines remain unaffected by the poisons injected into the general public. The vaccine passport system was never about health. It was the first step in a social credit system. Access to work, travel, and food made conditional on medical obedience. The needle became the mark of submission, dividing society into pure and unclean, the oldest trick of tyranny reborn in the language of public safety. The entire model of killing germs is a fabrication by Pasteur, later confessed by himself. Terrain theory proves disease comes from toxicity, not external invaders. Vaccines are based on a lie to sell intervention. By convincing us we are fragile and infected, the state justifies total bodily sovereignty over every citizen from cradle to grave. Thimerosal, ethyl mercury, is a known neurotoxin, yet added to childhood doses. It accumulates in the brain, causing autism spectrum disorders and behavioral disorders. Sane, independent children are chemically transformed into dependent state-managed wards. It is the systematic dumbing down of future generations to secure long-term dominance. Beyond HCG, many formulations contain endocrine disruptors. Worldwide sperm counts have crashed by 60% since 1970. The goal is not extinction, but controlled breeding. Only those approved by the system will be allowed to procreate, creating a genetically filtered slave class designed specifically to serve the technocratic empire. Heavy metals in vaccines act as antennas, making the body conductive to electromagnetic frequencies. Once tuned, populations can be manipulated via 5G or HAARP technology. Moods, thoughts, and even sleep cycles can be adjusted remotely. Humanity becomes a programmable hive mind, operating on the ruler's frequency. Doctors are not scientists, they are salesmen. They are financially and ideologically conditioned to defend the shot as sacred. Dissenters are purged. This creates a religious hierarchy where the syringe is the sacrament and obedience is the only path to salvation. Medicine has become the new religion of the technocracy. Repeated inoculations attack the body's natural ability to adapt. Over time, humans lose the capacity to heal or resist. We become pharmaceutical-dependent organisms. Survival becomes impossible without the regular supply of government-approved substances, making revolution or secession biologically impossible. Pregnant women are aggressively targeted. Vaccines cross directly into the fetus, altering development in the womb. We are not just vaccinating children, we are manufacturing them. Every new generation is born more modified, more compliant, and further removed from the original human blueprint. Drug companies have zero liability. If they maim or kill, there is no justice. This proves the product is not medicine, it is policy. Protection from prosecution confirms the state knows exactly what is being injected and has agreed to sacrifice the population for the greater plan of total control. COVID was the test run. For the first time, global coordination forced billions to submit. It proved that with enough fear propaganda, the population will demand their own enslavement. The virus was the excuse, the injection was the tool, compliance was the prize. Unlike bullets or bombs, vaccines do not cause immediate rebellion. Death and disability occur years later, attributed to natural causes. It is the perfect war, silent, invisible, and self-administered. The enemy does not fear you because you are already dying from the inside out. Epigenetics confirms toxins switch genes on and off. Vaccines are designed to suppress traits like courage, creativity, and empathy, while amplifying fear and obedience. We are being rewritten from the cellular level to fit the new human template required by the AI-driven technocracy. Adjuvants are specifically engineered to break down the body's defenses. Once the barrier falls, the mind is open to chemical and electromagnetic influence. The concept of free will becomes a historical myth, as neurological function is managed by algorithms running from a central server. The elderly and infirm are aggressively targeted to reduce the burden of pensions and care. Booster programs are designed to accelerate aging and mortality. They are considered dead weight in the technocratic balance sheet, and the needle is the most humane way to remove them in the public eye. Vaccination is the first step in merging biology with technology. They are acclimatizing us to the idea that our bodies are incomplete and need upgrades. Soon the difference between medicine and implant will vanish, and we will all be cyborgs, owned by the corporation that built us. Starting at birth, children are injected dozens of times before they can speak. This establishes the psychological precedent. The state owns your body. Bodily autonomy is erased before consciousness fully forms, making submission a reflex action for the rest of their lives. Heavy metals damage the pineal gland, reducing production of DMT, the spirit chemical. The goal is spiritual disconnection. Cut off from the divine and higher consciousness, Humans become purely materialistic consumers, easily managed by base desires and fear. Analysis shows higher toxicity in low-income and minority areas. It is a form of biological zoning. Keep the wealthy clean and intelligent. Keep the masses sick, tired, and divided. Health inequality is not accidental. It is the operating system of the new class system. New variants and annual shots ensure the population lives in perpetual anxiety. You are never safe. This constant state of stress elevates cortisol, further damaging health and reasoning. A terrified public will trade every last freedom for the promise of safety delivered by the needle. Modified bodies are chemically conditioned to resist rejection. Some theorists suggest the global inoculation campaign is preparing a massive supply of standardized organs and biological materials for the elite, turning the population into living, breathing livestock banks. Parents who refuse are labeled criminals. Children are removed. This destroys the natural authority of the family unit, replacing it with the state as the ultimate parent and authority. The family is the greatest barrier to tyranny, and the needle is the wedge used to split it apart. Since mass inoculation programs began, mortality rates from chronic diseases have skyrocketed. Excess deaths are now a permanent feature of the data. We are witnessing the slow-motion collapse of human vitality, engineered into the population by design. Toxic residues and nanotech create unique biological signatures. You don't need a chip to be tracked. Your blood is your barcode. Every person is catalogued, tagged, and traceable anywhere on Earth via their modified biological signature. The word science has replaced God as the unquestionable authority. To question the shot is heresy. This inversion means the tools of discovery have become chains of dogma, used to bludgeon independent thought into submission. As injuries mount and the evidence becomes undeniable, millions are waking up. The sacred needle is revealed as the serpent's fang. The battle is now biological. Reclaiming our bodies is the first and final revolution against the system that seeks to own us atom by atom. The final agenda is clear: ownership versus sovereignty. You are either a controlled asset in their database, or you are a free being of nature. The needle was never about germs. It was always about one question: who has the right to rule your blood? The answer will define the future of humanity.